something is coming up for me. I think about, I'm going to say it like this. I think about capitalism, and I think about the oppressed, and I think about the voiceless. And when
go slow here and don't lose your place, because this is really important. Capitalism, which end of the stick are you putting it on? The abundance end or the oppressor end?
Oppressor.
Because at the heart of it is desire, and there are a whole lot of inner beings promoting capitalism and excellence and more of everything. What was the string of capitalism?
It was about...
Just say the words, then we want to hear you say what it's about.
About the voiceless and the oppressed. And that capitalism...
But you see, no one can be voiceless because the law of attraction doesn't leave anyone out. So they're not voiceless, they're just crying out for what they don't want and getting it. And that's hard to hear because you've come to fulfill your purpose and you want them to get what they want to get. But you are now knowing that no doesn't mean no, it means yes. You see that something you want, you say, yes, yes, yes. Come to me, this thing I want. You see that, you say, no, no, no. That's like saying, come to me, this thing I don't want. And how you sort it out is by how you feel when you focus on it. That's how you know whether it's in sync with your long-term becoming or whether it's something you've picked up along your physical trail that you're trying to use as your support or rationalization or justification for explaining why you feel like you feel. The law of attraction keeps supporting you in your thoughts, even the thoughts about what you don't want. And so you have these realities that you say, this is truth. This is truth, and therefore it must be kept alive. This is a truth that must be kept alive. And we say, but your inner being is not doing anything about trying to keep that bad feeling truth alive. Your inner being is on the other end of the stick, keeping that alive, supporting that, promoting that, perpetuating that.
I got something.
Yeah?
It's about the liberators.
Say more.
If my want is to support those who are oppressed, it's not about focusing on oppression or the oppressed. It's about focusing on the liberators who are seeking out liberation. Because what I'm wanting is not to help the oppressed. That's focusing on oppression.
We agree. So let's go back to what we were talking about earlier. Let's say you see someone who, from everything that you gauge by, from the comparisons that are easy to make, you identify them as oppressed. Even use a stronger word, victim. Oppressed. So you see them that way, but you're an uplifter who wants them to attract differently. You don't want them to attract oppression. But when you identify them through your own lens as oppressed, first of all, your inner being isn't there with you, but that doesn't mean the law of attraction isn't responding to you. So you are contributing to their oppression. But what if you've stepped back far enough? Here's the best way to see this. So you saw oppressed, and you want liberation for everyone. You saw hungry, and you want them to be fed. And you saw tired and poor and cold, and you want frisky and frolicking and happy, good feeling. And so with everything that you are witnessing, you are putting your ask into the vortex. Now, how do you satisfy your ask? You got to be a match to it. So sometimes, and it feels so wrong and cruel, you have to look away from the oppressed in order to help them. But it's possible to get so good at this that you can, before you meet up with them, before you have your rendezvous, before you see them, it's possible that you know who they are. You've practiced it. I know you have an inner being. I know you came here with purpose. I know you have a guidance system. I know you have emotions. I know that you live in a universe like I do that is vibrationally based. I know that the law of attraction responds to you as the law of attraction responds to me. And I see you as whole, and I see you as temporarily out of sync with who you are, but I know who you are, and I see you in the process of becoming just like you knew that you would. Now, you're seeing through the eyes of Source. You're looking at them as their own inner being looks at them. And it's helpful to have somebody. We said something like that earlier today. It's helpful that Esther stands here in full vibrational sync with Abraham, because you can see her and hear her and smell her and taste her and touch her. She's tactile to you, and so she's believable to you if you are somewhere in the vicinity of it. Most inner beings are not. So that's why you teach to the clarity of your example. Jerry told the story that he gathered up. Esther told the story of gathering up. Her father had a grocery store, and he put boxes together and left them on doorsteps. Well, nobody was ever very happy about that. You'd think they would be, but they weren't, because it just amplified their victimhood. And so Esther was telling Jerry that story one day, that my daddy used to, on a really regular basis, just load up his car and just leave stuff on doorsteps. And people didn't really even know who was leaving it most of the time, but it didn't uplift them. Fed them in some way, but not in another. And Jerry said, I remember Daddy was lost at sea somewhere, and Mother was cutting the fence to get in to milk the neighbor's cow so that her babies would have some milk. That's the state of affairs that they were in. And somebody brought them a basket. And Jerry said, I'll never forget how angry we were that we received that basket, because it was such amplification that we weren't succeeding at our life. It was I see you cannot do this for yourself, and so therefore I do this to you. Now, we're not asking you not to help. We suggest that when you get tuned in and turned on, it's a lovely thing when your abundance just leaks out of you. But just pay attention to which end of the stick you're on. You cannot do other than uplift when you are in sync with your inner being. When you do it out of interest and desire and love. But it's tricky business, isn't it? You got to pay attention to how you're feeling to know what you're really lined up with. Are you lined up with their power, or are you lined up with their lack of power? Because you want to be an example of their power, not an example of your own. You want to draw from them their knowledge of their power. You don't want to draw from them their knowledge of your power. That never gets it done.
That's what it means to empower.
Yes, it does. Perfect.
Thank you.
We're going to steal that one from you. That's what empowerment is. That's right. That's right. When someone feels defeated, whether it's you or somebody else, you got to find some way to shift that. Or not only will your point of attraction not change, your point of attraction will not change to something wanted if you feel defeated. But even more than that, there is no sweet spot in that. That's why we talk all day, every day, as much as any of you will listen, that if you care about how you feel, and you find thoughts that feel good and find thoughts that feel good, you cannot find a thought that will hurt another and feel good. You can never do damage to another and feel good at the same time. You can only empower and uplift when you feel good. But you have to figure out the difference between how you're feeling, because sometimes it's really a subtle thing. For example, sometimes in the early days, especially when we were talking about desire or wanting, people would say, I don't know what I want. And we would say, well, how about this or how about this? And they'd say, oh, I already have that. I already have that, so I don't want it. They didn't understand the feeling of alignment. There are a lot of people that think that the way they figure out that they want something is when they feel the agony of its absence. So they actually think that wanting is that feeling. Pure desire doesn't feel like that. Pure desire feels like exhilaration. It feels like humor. It feels like timing. It feels like being in love. It feels like appreciation. It feels like abundance. It feels like well-being. It feels like heart singing. It feels like dancing. It feels wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. There's no edge to it.
Thank you, because I needed that.
Yeah.
Because if we're talking about empowerment, I need to know what that feels like.
Yeah. Well, when you feel like that, anybody that has the privilege of being in your gaze is benefiting. Yeah. And when you feel sorry for them, they were better off before they met you.
This conversation is starting to intimidate me.
Not at all. This conversation is your creation, and you did a really good job. Enough?
Yeah. Thank you.
Really good. Really good. So, really? There's something more you want to talk about? Stand if you think it's you. Wait, behind you. Can you feel how time is standing still? Can you feel how much has happened in this very short period of time that we've been together? This is what empowerment is. This is what momentum is. This is what true movement is. This is what leverage is.